Today, I'm gonna build the most secure village in hardcore Minecraft. When villages spawn in a Minecraft world, they tend to be very boring and noticeably defenseless against raids and other dangerous mobs. So today, we're gonna change that by transforming the ordinary, boring village into a fortress that can hold back Minecraft's most powerful mobs. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you're not already. So let's go ahead and get to it. First things first, I'm gonna need to find myself a village that I can transform, but sadly, the only one I can remember being close to my base is 2,000 blocks away. It's actually even closer to 2,500 blocks away, which is even worse. And the reason this is worse is because I really don't want to have to travel over 2,000 blocks away just to visit the most secure village in the world. And it's probably also gonna be where I set up all of my trading villagers. But luckily, I do have an idea. Rather than upgrading the village in this location, I instead can tear down these houses and create replicas that will be much closer to my base. Back in episode 1, when I was planning to build my starter house, I ended up building this huge flat area and never did really anything with it. So this will be the perfect location for our brand new village. I went ahead and tore down some of the most common villager houses and the ones that I'm looking forward to building in our new village, and made sure to take screenshots so I can build replicas of these. There is a few different structures this village doesn't include that I am going to plan on building, but luckily I can just go online and find some images to replicate. For now, I'm gonna leave the villagers behind until we get a wall put up around our new village, because I really don't want to spend all the time transporting these guys just for them to die. With a few structures torn down, I made my way back over to base so we can start building this new village. Starting things off, I'm gonna build one of the smaller houses first, and I'm gonna build this off to the side. One of the big reasons I wanted to relocate this village is so I can also set it up to be a little bit more uniform. Anyways, with the first house complete, I then got started on the next house, which I'm pretty sure is a library, which I will more than likely leave a library or fill with some beds so we can get plenty of villagers to breed. The next house was one of the ones that's built out of some white terracotta. I don't know exactly what house this is or what profession uses it, but I did want to build it to help split up the colors and add a little bit more block variety in this village. Every village needs a couple animal pens, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in this white terracotta build that is typically seen with cows inside of it. Once I was finished with that, I realized that this area wasn't going to be big enough, so I got a couple stacks of dirt and started to expand this out so it's all nice and flat. As I already said, I need all of this to stay somewhat close together because I am planning on building a pretty large wall around the outside of this village, and I'd prefer not to have to gather a bajillion stacks of an item just to build that wall. The village is starting to come together, but there's still 2 or 3 more structures which are crucial to this build. I don't know exactly the name of this building, but it is going to be the biggest one in the whole village, and this is where all of the breeding is going to take place, and I'm thinking about putting a trading hall below it. While I was building it, I realized I wasn't super happy with the structure in the middle of the village, so I decided to tear that down and add in one of these tree structures, which you can find some bells around in a normal vanilla village. With that complete, there was one last area that needed to be finalized, which I just added in a few trading stalls to the side of the largest structure. We are going to come back through and upgrade a lot of these builds a little bit later, but for now I want to leave it as vanilla as possible. And just like that, I would say we're off to a very solid start here. Our village is looking very vanilla-ish, but that's good. That's exactly what I was looking for. I still have some interiors to do, but I might just leave these open for the time being because, as I said, I am planning on putting some trading halls inside of some of these. Although I don't think I'll be able to fit it in these smaller ones. I'll have to figure out something cool to put in here. Maybe like little micro farms or some other stuff. Now, even though I am really happy with how this is turning out, I think we need to expand it just a little bit more and put some fields off to the side here because these villagers are gonna need a way to feed themselves, and yeah, I can put some cows in here, but I don't think that's gonna be enough. I mean, I guess it's all hypothetically because the villagers don't really eat. They're just gonna use the potatoes or wheat to breed, but I just like the idea of it. So making my way back over to the starter house, I grabbed about a stack of oak logs and a whole bunch of dirt so I can expand this flat area. But first, I'm gonna need to get these cows moved out of the way, which is a perfect opportunity to put them into their brand new pen. But I don't know exactly what to do with the sheep because I don't have any place to put them. This is probably going to seem a little bit counterproductive, but I'm just going to build another small sheep pen right over here and I'll worry about these guys later. just right into here, everyone, and thank you. Let me close that before you guys escape. And now it's time to sleep before any mobs spawn and I lose this world forever. Now that the sheep are out of the way, I can go ahead and get rid of the old pens and start expanding this area by bringing in a whole bunch of dirt. I only want it to go about another 9 blocks out. I don't need to go much further than that because I don't want this area to be too big. With some more fresh land to build on, I got to constructing our small fields, which are gonna just be like normal vanilla fields, using logs around the outside and then filling in the center with some dirt and some water, and I used some carrots and seeds for the main crops. I also had a little open space, so I built another animal pen, and this is where I'm gonna move the sheep into. I think it's just the perfect placeholder for this open space. And just like that, I have successfully transplanted a village from one part of this world to another, which means it's about time we start upgrading this thing to make it the safest village in this world. But first, I'm gonna need to collect up some blocks because I pretty much burned through all of my stone building these houses along with most of my oak. So starting things off, I went ahead and spent about 30 minutes sitting at my cobblestone generator to hopefully collect up about 15 to 20 stacks of cobblestone, and then crafting myself a bunch of furnaces. I want to smelt all of this cobblestone into normal stone, which I'm going to be using for the wall that surrounds the village. While I wait for all of this stone to smelt up, I want to start collecting up some oak logs, so I made my way over to the nearby forest to take out a pretty massive chunk of trees, and I'm hoping about 4 or 5 stacks of oak logs should be more than enough for the beginnings of these upgrades. From there, I placed in some 2x2 spruce trees to collect up about 6 stacks of spruce logs, which I'm going to use for some detailing around the wall and in the village. And I wish there was a 2x2 oak tree variant because it is so much faster mining these trees than just normal oak trees. Anyways, by the time I was done collecting up all the wood, the stone had now smelted up, so I collected all of that and got a few XP levels out of it. But then I had to use those levels to repair my pickaxe along with a couple diamonds because I pretty much broke it collecting up all of that cobblestone. Now that I have a pretty solid amount of blocks together, I think it's about time we get going on this wall. Now, I originally was going to put the entrance over right here where the pathway kind of juts out a little bit, but I think I'm not going to do that anymore. It was before I added in these fields here, and I kind of want the entrance to be centered up on one of the sides, and I can't really do it on that side. So instead, I think I'm going to go ahead and do it right here, placing a block right there and there, but I want this to be 5 blocks apart like that, and I'll go ahead and carry this up 5 blocks, and same thing on this side. And then I will just run these blocks straight across like this, and then take some upside down stairs and put them right there, and that should work for the entrance. And then from the entrance, I want to go 5 blocks over, a little bit something like that, and I'm gonna carry this the whole way down. With some stone bricks placed 5 blocks apart, I can then bring in some normal stone, and I'm gonna run it behind like this, so it's 1 block back to add a little bit more depth. And I'm gonna do this on the entire wall, which is gonna take so much stone. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and bring this all up 2 more blocks, a little bit something like this, and let's see how that looks. Yeah, I like how that looks, and then I was kind of thinking I could do something maybe a little bit like this. So anywhere that dirt is showing, I'll just fill it in with some stairs, and that should give the wall even more depth. I like that, but it's definitely going to need adjusting, which I will do once I have the big portion of the wall complete. And of course, I just realized this entrance isn't centered because we have 3 spaces here and only 2 over there, which means I need to get rid of this because I really want it to be centered up if you can't tell. Luckily, I can go back to my original design and center it up on this longer wall. I'm just probably going to have to get rid of this trading stall right here. It will end up going right about here, which should leave 4 spaces on this side and 4 spaces on that side. And there we go. Now we have our new entrance. From this point, I'm going to go ahead and run a band of stone brick along the top right here, and for future reference I should be able to take some upside down stairs, put them right there, and I want to do it on a few of these like that, and then we can take a step back. And yeah, I really like how that looks. And something neat I can do in a little bit is I can come back through with a little bit of cobblestone and texture this wall out, so we have something like that. Now that all the upside down stairs are placed in around the outside, I actually want to make my way to the inside and place some upside down cobblestone stairs right here. And the concept behind this is I want to run another one of those bands going along the inside. And if we come up to the top, it should be just enough room to put a little pathway up here. You know, the plan of having the block hanging over this side really isn't going to work, because if I did it right here, it touches this structure, which I really don't like. So instead, I'm actually going to take some cobblestone stairs and place them on top top of the cobblestone that's right here, which pretty much is the same thing as the front. It splits 5 blocks apart. And then in between that, I will just take some normal stone stairs and run them like this. And how does that look from down below? Okay, that looks all right, but we still need a little bit of depth up there. I'm gonna go ahead and do this for the whole thing though. And then making my way outside on the top of each one of these pillars, I want to place an upside down stair like this, which will eventually be a pedestal. On top of these pedestals, I'm going to place a stone brick like this. And then I kind of wanted to see how it looks if I take some walls and run them along and then put some slabs on top of these stone bricks right here. How does that look from down below? I think I like that. I actually have another idea which might look nice. I'm just going to need a decent amount of trap doors. 64 should be more than enough. And I'm just going to go ahead and place these underneath. Now, how does that look? Okay. Yeah. I really like that a lot. It adds a little bit of color to the wall, which as usual means I got to do it to this entire thing. And by the way, I've pretty much burnt through all of my stone, which was like 17 or 18 stacks. Yeah, it's all gone. I really wanted to spend a lot of time detailing this wall because if you do it incorrectly, it can look so bad. It already is going to be a giant block of stone pretty much, so it's important to add in plenty of colors and depth, so when you're looking at it from a distance or even up close, it will look good. And I think I can say the wall is pretty much all complete. Taking a step back, I really like how it looks. We're definitely missing some things like maybe some towers on the corners and maybe 2 by the entrance, but for the most part, this thing looks pretty secure and should be able to keep pretty much every single mob out of it. I mean, we still need to put a door or some gates right here, but you get the idea. I think adding these oak trap doors up here to give myself a railing looks super nice, and then I can actually put some lanterns on top of these cobblestone walls. But as I have said, I am pretty much all out of stone, and if I want to make some lanterns, I'm gonna need a whole bunch of iron. So with that being said, I went ahead and made my way up to the top of the stony peaks to collect up about 2 stacks of iron, and it almost feels like cheating collecting iron up here because I was able to collect up a single stack of iron in under 5 minutes without using any fortune. I also decided to go ahead and collect up a couple stacks of coal to smelt up all this iron, and I was super close to level 30, so that was the other reason. Although I kind of forgot how long it takes to get levels through coal, so then I went ahead and went on a killing spree, killing any animal I could find. And finally, after killing some chickens, I got up to level 30. With more than enough iron and coal collected, and now being level 30, I made my way back down to our base and threw all of our iron into the furnaces, and then grabbed a few different diamond tools I already had crafted, along with some diamonds to do some enchanting. I really wanted to get some efficiency on my shovel, and thank goodness it was showing efficiency 4, but when I went to enchant it, that's all I got, which is kind of a bummer, and I wish I got Unbreaking 3. Although the next enchantment is showing Fortune 3, which is great, so next time I will be enchanting my diamond pickaxe. Moving on, I'm also completely out of stone, and I'm gonna need a decent amount more to build these towers on the corners of this wall, so I went ahead and spent about another 20 minutes at the cobblestone generator getting 15 to 20 stacks of cobblestone. And as I did before, I placed all my furnaces back down and smelted all of this cobblestone into normal stone. While I wait for the stone to smelt up, I went ahead and crafted a bunch of lanterns and a ton of iron bars so I can finish up on this wall. First things first, I want to go to the middle of these 5 block spaces and get rid of the blocks, put a stair at the bottom, and then put some iron bars at the top, which I think will be a nice detail, and it's also going to serve a purpose so I can look outside at nighttime or during the day to see if there's any mobs out there that are trying to attack me. I went ahead and did this around the entire wall, and I ended up not having enough iron bars, so I had to craft a few more. And once I was complete with that, I then went through with my pickaxe and some cobblestone and replaced some of the blocks to add a little bit of texturing to the wall. I think it looked fine without it, but it just needed a little bit more detail because when you stood back and looked at it, it did look a little bland from a distance. So the cobblestone should help with that. You know, I just realized something. So I spent all this time texturing this wall, and I was kind of having to go back and forth between the pickaxe like this and then switch to the cobblestone and place it in. And of course, by the time I'm done, I just realized I can literally put the cobblestone in my offhand and easily place the blocks down like that. Only if I had realized that before I finished texturing this entire wall. Anyways, I'm gonna make my way back over to the starter house because all of the stone should be finished smelting. Now that all of the stone is smelted up, I can go ahead and get started on our next security measure for this village, which will be adding some towers to the sides. It probably would have been easier to build these as I was building the wall, but I never make my life easier. Starting off, I wanted to have a 5x5 base, so something a little bit like that. Then I'll wrap it around this way, 5 blocks, and then bring it in. Then I pretty much just want to get rid of this entire corner of the wall. This is part of the reason I didn't want to bring the villagers in yet, because once I open this wall up, the villagers could easily escape and waste a whole bunch of time. I also am just putting it off because because I am not looking forward to trying to get villagers to travel 2,500 blocks. Now that we have some space cleared out, I can just go ahead and bring this up, let's say 3 blocks. And I want to start texturing in some normal stone because I want it to be stone brick at the base and then slowly become stone. And I'll kind of have little stone brick veins going through it. That right there is 7 blocks tall, and I think I'm going to go a little higher because it doesn't look quite substantial enough next to the wall. So I'll just go ahead and bring this up, let's say 3 more blocks, I think is a good number. So we should be 10 blocks off the ground from that level of grass right there, but then moving on, I want to add some stairs every other block to the top right here. And then on top of those stairs, I'm just going to place some stone bricks around a little bit like this, and then take some more upside down stairs, and I'll use stone ones for these. And I'm going to place them upside down in between each one of these full block stone bricks. And then on top of the stone brick, I'm just going to put some stairs upwards like this, and these will also be stone brick stairs, which definitely gives us that castle look. And of course I did not bring any spruce with me, but I guess it's a good time to maybe break these blocks and check out to see how it looks from down below. You know, I'm glad I did that because I think this actually needs to come down maybe a block or even 2. It looks really tall up against the wall. After taking a look at the tower from a few different angles, I'm gonna leave it at this height because it's not much taller than this building right here. And I think it's important that the towers are taller than it because it should be taller than any structure inside of the village itself. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get the towers built on the other 3 corners. Once I was finished with those towers, I grabbed that stack of lanterns I crafted a little bit earlier and went around the wall, placing in a bunch of lanterns, making sure there's no spots for any mobs to spawn. This is going to be really important because I'm not planning on locking any of the villagers in the houses. I want them to be able to free roam around the inside of the village. And if a zombie were to spawn, that would be detrimental because all of those villagers would just turn into zombified villagers. And I think we're looking pretty dang good so far, but these towers aren't complete yet because I still want to add some sort of pointy roof to the top of them. So I went ahead and got some blocks together and also crafted a lot of ladders so I can have a way to get up to the top of these towers. And for now, I'm just gonna fill this in with some spruce planks so I'm not constantly falling down. And I think I'm actually gonna carry this up 1 more block like this, which means it's gonna be a hazard to fall off the edge here, but I just will be careful. From this point, I want to carry some spruce logs up 3 blocks, and then taking some upside down spruce stairs, I want to do something a little bit like this. So I'll place 1 upside down like that, and then turn and place 1 like that. And I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. And then using some planks, I'll make my way up here. And I want to take some more stairs and put them like this, and then place an upside down one in the middle, which should give us sort of like a rounded off point. And once again, I'm gonna do this on all 4 sides, and I'll place a slab on top of each one of these upside down stairs, not right there. And then on the back of this slab, I'm gonna place a full spruce block and then take some spruce stairs and place them up like this. And I'm gonna go ahead and do it 1 more time, let's say. This might end up being too tall. I just kind of want to see how it looks, test things out a little bit. And then on all of these openings right along here, I'm gonna fill them in actually with some oak. I think that'll be a nice touch. I'll do, let's say, a stair right there, and then a slab like that, which, yeah, I'm glad I tested it because this is definitely gonna be too tall. So I'll just bring this all down, and then I will take my spruce stairs and put them a little bit something like this, and it'll just kind of round off at the top. And that looks a whole lot better. What would it look like if I put another block like that? Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do this on all 4 sides again. And then the final thing to do is strip these spruce logs down into strip spruce logs, and I'll take a lantern and just place it right there and right there. For the final test, I'm just gonna make my way down to the ground level and take a step back and see how it looks. I like it, but it looks really blocky from down here. I'm gonna go ahead and redo that because I don't like how that looks. It ended up taking me about 15 to 20 minutes of trial and error to finally get a look that I actually liked. Building the roofs for towers is something I've always struggled with, so I usually try to go online and find some reference images to help me build it. It's not too different from how it was before. I decided to add 1 more level of these strip spruce logs, and then I also rounded off the top a little bit more. And I'm thinking if I use some wool or even some concrete, I could maybe add like a big flag to the top of them and do it on each one of the towers. And I think that will look pretty nice. But now that I have a design figured out for the roofs of each one of these towers, I'm gonna go ahead and do it on the other 3. And there we go. We have a tower on each corner of the village with a finished roof, and I think I can say I'm pretty happy with how these have turned out. Although I've been building for quite a while, and I kind of want to take a break to go do something that I'm really not looking forward to. Can you guess what it's gonna be? Well, if you couldn't guess, I'm gonna go retrieve myself 2 villagers that I can bring back to the village we just built. But it's not gonna be as easy as I thought, because after running around for a little bit, it turns out none of these rivers make their way over to the village, which means I need to get the villagers across a ton of land. Unless I were to, let's say, build my own river. In this birch biome right here, there's a pretty thin piece of land that connects an ocean right there up to this river, which eventually runs into the ocean that runs to our base. And the village is somewhere over there. But now that I have some efficiency on my shovel, I should be able just to dig this out pretty quickly, and then I have to go collect up a little bit of iron to craft a bucket, and I can fill it all in with some water, and I should be able just to get the villagers like right through here. I want to make it a little wider though, because for some reason, I'm getting the feeling this might be a really big struggle. Didn't take too long at all. The land is all dug out, so now I just need to find a cave that hopefully has some surface iron to collect up. Is there any visible iron in here? Of course there isn't. Just lots and lots of copper. There definitely has to be some iron showing in this cave. Oh yeah, we got some right there. And we conveniently have a water stream going all the way down. I just gotta make sure not to die when I do this. Okay, that's always so terrifying. Of course, I'm missing a singular piece. I want to be able to craft 2 buckets, and I only have 5 iron. 1 piece right there, and then I'm gonna get on out of here. Now that I have some iron, I collected up some logs to smelt this iron, along with collecting up some cobblestone to craft myself a furnace. With my 2 buckets now acquired, I can go ahead and flood this little makeshift river that I just dug out. You know, I would like to say I'm pretty genius for doing that. Normally, I'm never this smart, but for some reason, my brain seems to be working today. Anyways, let's go fetch these villagers. Sir, I'm gonna need you to enter the boat here. No. Just right into that boat right behind you. Okay, thank you very much. Gotta just fix up some of this land so we don't get stuck anywhere. And now I just need to get you down to the water. That is 1 villager complete, and on to the next. And same thing for you. Let's get you down to the water. Thank goodness Mojang added the ability to tow boats, so I should be able just to get in. Do I go like that? And then I can tow you? Is that working? That seems to be working. Oh my goodness, this is so cool. I've never used this before, so it's so nice to have it. The makeshift river is right there, and I think I'm gonna have to get these guys through one at a time. I'm gonna try doing it together, but I could see the lead breaking just because the other boat could get caught up on something. Let's test this. Oh, it might work just fine. That was easy peasy, and I'm gonna get these guys back to base after I sleep because it's almost nighttime. Oh, and the village is looking so good as we approach your guys' new home. I'm still not exactly sure how I'm gonna get these guys into the village. All right, so I have an idea. I built this dirt staircase going up to the village, and then when the sun goes down, I'm gonna place these beds down and break those boats, and hopefully the villagers should pathfind their way into the village. This all is should and hopefully. I gotta move these boats a little bit closer though before the sun actually goes down and mobs start spawning. I am really hoping this works because yeah, I don't want to lose a villager. That took so long. All right, I'll just put the beds right here for now. Then hopefully if I break the boat, the villager should pathfind its way up there. Okay, that's working. And then the second one should also pathfind up there. And now I can place this dirt here so they can't get out. And then I'm just gonna break both these beds and place them down, let's just say right here. Come back. And then fill in all this cobblestone. Okay, that actually worked. And then I'm gonna sleep real quick. All right, and we actually have some villagers inside of the village now. I'll just throw their beds into here. Then I just wanna go around and make sure there's no openings for these villagers to escape out of. Like these stairs on the wall definitely should go because they could probably climb up that. Okay, I think everything is good. There's no way for these villagers to escape, and it should be all lit up, so no mobs should spawn. I do want to grab some hay bales real quick so I can craft a decent amount of bread, because it would be nice if some of the villagers can start breeding so we can get some baby villagers in case any die or escape. I don't have to do that whole journey again. Although before I give them any bread, I'm gonna shear all these sheep and craft a whole bunch of beds, which I'm gonna put just in this house. I think I can just line them up. I don't think it really matters to have spacing. And then I'm just gonna throw 36 bread down right there. Can you grab that? Can you please take the bread? Please take the bread. Take all that bread. Yep, all that bread. Come on, grab it. Okay, this guy really isn't interested in the bread. I'm gonna give it to this guy who seems to be obsessed with trying to jump up onto that. Okay, now make your way over there and start breeding, please. Now that I have the transportation of the villagers out of the way, I decided to spend a decent amount of time doing some upgrades around the the village. When the vanilla houses normally spawn in, they're pretty boring and lack detail. So the first upgrade I went ahead and did was get rid of all of the oak along the edges of the roof and replace it with spruce so it has a nice trim. And I went ahead and did this on every single one of the buildings, and then on the house that has terracotta in it, I decided to just replace the roof completely, because when that one spawns in, it uses full blocks for the roof, which in my opinion just looks horrible. But we're gonna add another detail which can really make your build stand out, which is adding a chimney to the top of a few of these buildings. I grabbed a little bit of copper because I think it's gonna be a nice accent to all the oak and spruce. And then I'm also gonna go ahead and add one to the top of the library, but I did miss a block right there that I gotta throw in. And I'll go ahead and put this one right here. I'll go that many blocks up, add a slab to the top, and same as the other one. And then I'll maybe do one on this building right here. I'm not gonna do one on the smaller one because all three chimneys would line up then. There we go, all the chimneys are added in. It is such a nice touch because it just adds like a little bit of life having the smoke rising up. Then I also have a little bit of bone meal that I just want to sparsely throw around the inside of here. It could always use a little more bone meal if you know me. I love bone meal and I love the tall grass, but I think that should work. And I think for now, we're gonna have to call it good because I am all out of time for today's episode. I have a bunch of really big plans that I want to work on inside of this village, but that's gonna have to wait until next time. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you're not already. I will see you guys in the next one.